Instagram, they were perfect. Golden sunsets, barefoot hikes, coffee brewing inside a cozy white van packed under Zion's red cliffs. Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie sold the dream, van life, freedom, young love on the open road. Every post was soft and carefully framed, inspirational captions, gratitude, smiles. But here's the truth: social media is a highlight reel, not a live feed of reality. Behind those filtered photos were constant arguments, emotional volatility, financial stress, tension. Gabby wanted to build something, a brand, a future. Brian wasn't supportive of her vlogging ambitions, yet the camera kept rolling. Because in digital culture, once you start performing happiness, you feel pressure to keep performing. That's the trap, and the illusion becomes stronger than the truth. And sometimes the more perfect the feed looks, the more fractured the reality is. This wasn't a travel story, it was a case study in appearance versus the reality. And the police body came a warning missed on August 2021. A 911 report seeing a man slapping a woman. Police put over the van. The body cam footage is chilling. Gabby is crying, shaking, apologizing. She blames herself, calm, smiling, the other. And that contrast matters because in many domestic violence situations, the victim looks hysterical and the aggressor looks composed. Officers interpret it as a mental health issue, not a criminal assault. They separate them for the night, but they miss something critical. Reactive abuse. When someone is pushed emotionally, belittled, controlled, finally reacts, the reaction can be misidentified as aggression. Gabby took the blame. She said she hit him first. Classic Davo pattern: deny, attack, reverse the victim, and offender. The 911 report almost forgotten. Physical marks on Gabby minimized. No arrest, no protection order, no escalation protocol. The traffic stop could have been verdict point. Instead, it became a warning sign missed in the real time. And silence on the road. The disappearance of Gabby speaks to her mother on the last time, August 25. Her Instagram post appears, then the silence. September 1, Van returns to Florida alone in her van. His family says nothing. Gabby's parent call, text, beg for answers. No response. 10 days pass before she is officially reported missing. 10 days in missing person cases. Time is everything, and during that window, disturbing red flags emerges. Ryan uses Gabby's credit debit card, spent over $1,000, text messages sent from her phone, strange wordings, uncharacteristic phrases. One message references another call her grandfather Stan, a name she never used. These weren't just texts, they were attempts to construct normalcy, to delay the suspicion, to create an alibi. This is a psychology of avoidance. Control the narrative, control the timeline, delay the accountability. Eventually, Brian disappears into Florida's Carlton Rivers. Weeks later, his remains are found inside a notebook, a confession attempting to frame the killing as mercy. Investigators reject that narrative. Poseniks tell a different story. The road trip had ended long before the van stopped moving. The nationwide manhunt and the media explosion wasn't just a missing person case. It became a media wildfire. Within days, Gabby Petito exploded across TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, nearly 1 billion views. Subreddit grew to 90,000 members in 1 week. True crime creators were live streaming update daily. Internet sleuths were mapping timelines in real time. But this level of attention raised an uncomfortable question: why this case? Why did this story dominate global headlines? Well, thousands of missing indigenous and black women received little coverage. This sparked debate around what experts call missing white women syndrome, media bias, selective outrage, algorithm-driven empathy. At the same time, something unpredictable happened. A covered eyes investigation. YouTubers Kyle and Zen Bent unknowingly captured Gabby's white van in the background of their travel footage. That clip helped authorities narrow the search area. But digital investigations are like double-edged sword. For every useful lead, there were conspiracy theories. For every helpful tip, there was thousands of false alarms. In 1 week, the FBI received 4,500 public attention calls accelerating justice, but it can also distort it. And laundry fight of final revelation September 13, Brian leaves his parents' home, tells them he's going to hiking. He never comes back. What follows is a massive search operation across 25,000 acres of Florida's farms, terrains, alligators, snakes, weeks of rain. On October 20, after the partial skeletal remains are found. Besides them, a water-damaged notebook inside. Brian claims he killed Gabby as a mercy. He writes that she fell, then she was in pain, then he ended her suffering. But the autopsy says otherwise. Causes of death is manual strangulation, blunt force trauma, not an accident, not a rescue. Experts see something else in the notebook, narrative control. Even in the death, he attempted to frame himself as protector and not perpetrator. That's not remorse, that image management. And the case ended without the courtroom, no cross-examination, no verdict, just silence. And the domestic violence, what we learned still away from these headlines is The warning signs were there: isolation, emotional volatility, control, reportedly pressuring Gabby to quit her job, undermining her confidence, and then reassured her. Classic love bombing, then push-pull dynamic creates dependency. There is another chilling statistics: women who survive strangulation are seven times more likely to be killed by their partner in the mob footage. And Gabby apologizes repeatedly. She blames herself. This is common in the abusive dynamics. When someone is conditioned to believe conflict is their fault, they protect their abuser not because they are weak, but because manipulation rewires the perception. In response to this case, Gabby Petito acted but because manipulation rewires the perception. In response to this case, several states enacted the Gabby Petito Act. It requires officers to conduct the lethality assessment, structured question designed to identify high-risk victims. Because sometimes the difference between intervention and the tragedy is the right question being asked. The performance of happiness, Gabby feet look like a freedom, open roads, mountains, smiles. A band can be both symbol of adventure and a closed system of control. In the digital age, happiness is often performed, filtered, edited, captioned for viewers, and distress that's cropped out. The van life aesthetic marks the relationship unraveling in real time. The case forces us to confront something uncomfortable. Not everything aesthetic is safe, not everything smiling is stable, and not every story online is full story. What you need to honor is just be through viral hashtags, just to be through awareness, better training, and stronger systems, and the courage to look beyond the filter. Now, to your deeper analytical question, what does a mercy killing claim reveals us? The psychology suggests a need to reclaim moral superiority, cognitive distortion to reduce guilt, final narrative control, possibly narcissistic self-preservation, and reframing the murder as protection. It shifts focus from the harm done to the intention, suppressing, reframing that it as protective. And the officers misidentifying the primary aggressor, they focused on visible emotional distress instead of witness testimony. They interpreted calmness as innocence, and they failed to control that coercive control rather than the contextual power dynamic. They didn't conduct a formal lethality assessment. Reactive behavior was mistaken for primary aggression, and the specific warning signs of the reactive abuse occurs when a victim responds emotionally after prolonged provocation. They accept the blame quickly, they appear unstable, while the abuser appears calm. There is a pattern of gaslighting. The victim tries to protect the abuser from the consequence. The abuser isolates them socially or financially, and the reaction is visible. The control behind is this is not.